بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ذمي ذمية على خمر أو خنزير ثم أسلم أحدهما فلها الخمر والخنزير. Anyway, Zimmi, it's a non-Muslim who's living in a Islamic state, right? Anyway, Zimmi marries a Zimmiya, and the marry upon Khamar or Khinzir, then they accept Islam, then they both accept Islam, or one of them to accept Islam, then for her will be the Khamar and the Khinzir. وَمَعْنَا إِذَا كَانَ بِأَعْيَانِهِمَا. And his meaning is that when they were specific, in other words, they were pointed out. You understand? So the man said, here's your meher, and he pointed it out. This is the meher. So when he's specific, then, well, and then just pointed out, well, Islamu qabla al-qabzi. And they accepted Islam before taking possession. Right? So because it was pointed out, she's only going to get that, right? وَإِنْ كَانَ بِغَيْرِ أَعْيَانِهِمَا. And if it was not specific now, فَلَهَا فِي الْخَمْرِ الْقِيمَةُ. Then for her in the khamr is the value, and in وَفِي الْخِنْزِيرِ مَهْرُ الْمِثْلِ. And in khinzir, she will get مهر مثل. وهذا عند أبي حنيفة رحمة الله. And there's a Imam Abu Hanifa رحمة الله وقال أبو يوسف لها مهر المثل في الوجهين. Imam Yusuf رحمة الله say for her is مهر مثل in both cases. وقال محمد رحمة الله لها القيمة في الوجهين. And Imam Muhammad رحمة الله says for her is the value in both cases. Right. So this is now what's about two cases when the meher was pointed out and it wasn't specific. Right. So it was pointed out or not pointed out. Right. وجه قولهما أن القبض مؤكد للملك في المقبوض فيكون له شبه بالعقد. The reason of Saiben's goal now, what Saiben, they don't accept that he must, they say you must go back to meher misal or to the value, right? You can't give the same two things, right? Right. And the reason of Saiben's goal is that taking possession strengthens the ownership in that which is taken possession of. You understand it? So what they're saying here, although it was specific, but it's only once you take possession now it really becomes yours. You understand it? Right. So فَيَكُونُ لَهُ شِبْهٌ بِالْعَقْدِ. So it has, taking possession has a resemblance to the transaction itself. So if they're saying taking possession is almost like the transaction, and if you do a transaction on Khamr and Khinzir with a Muslim, then it's not valid. You understand it? فَيَمْتَنِعُ بِسَبَبِ الْإِسْلَامِ كَالْعَقْدِ. So that will be prohibited because of Islam, just like a transaction will be prohibited because of Islam. You understand it? Just like you can't get married on Khamr and Khinzir, Muslim and Muslima can't get married on Khamr and Khinzir. Likewise, Muslim or Muslima taking possession of Khamr and Khinzir, you understand, won't be allowed because of Islam. وَصَارَ كَمَا إِذَا كَانَ بِغَيْرِ أَعْيَانِهِمَا. So it will become just as when they are non-specific. Because when they are non-specific, even Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi says, no, now you must say to give the value, or you must give meher misal. You understand it? Right. وإذا التحقت حالة القبض بحالة العقد. So when the situation of taking possession is joined up to the situation of the transaction. So what they're saying, taking possession is like actually doing the transaction. You understand it? فأبو يوسف يقول لو كان مسلمين وقت العقد يجب مهر المثل فكذا هنا. Then Imam Abu Yusuf Rahman said that if they were two Muslims at the time of the transaction, then meher misal will become wajib. Likewise, here also meher misal will become wajib. You understand it? Right. ومحمد رحمة الله يقول صحة التسمية لكون المسمى مالا عندهم. Imam Muhammad Rahman says that the tasmiyah was correct because that which was mentioned was wealth according to them. At the time they did the transaction, they weren't Muslims. You understand it? So it was wealth. إلا أنه امتنع التسليم للإسلام. Except that handing over is prohibited because of Islam. You can't hand it over because they are Muslims. فَتَجِبُ الْقِيمَةُ. So now the value becomes wajib. That's why he goes for value. And Imam Yusuf goes for meher misal. You understand it? He goes for value, and Imam Yusuf, Abu Yusuf goes for meher misal. Right. And then Imam Muhammad gives a backup. كما إذا هلك العبد المسمى قبل القبض. Just like when a mentioned slave dies before taking possession. So you were supposed to give that slave as the meher, and then he died before you could give him, must give his value. So he also must give the value. ولأبي حنيفة رحمه الله أن الملك في الصداق المعين يتم بنفس العقد. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi dalil is that ownership in specified meher is complete with the mere transaction. In other words, the moment you specify the here's your meher, she didn't take it yet. She already owns it. With the transaction of the nikah, she owns it already, right? وَلِهَذَا تَمْلِكُ التَّصَرُّفَ فِيهِ. Right? And for this reason, already she has the power to transact in it. So while she's there, she didn't take it yet, she can start selling it in. You understand it? Right. Then the question comes about, but what's the meaning of qabza now? What's the benefit of qabza then if she can now already transact before she takes it? You say, وَبِالْقَبْزِ يَنْتَقِلُ مِنْ زَمَانِ الزَّوْجِ إِلَى زَمَانِهَا. And what qabza, what taking possession, it transfers from the responsibility of the husband to her responsibility. So what he's saying here now, so since she can already, she owns it already. So she owed that khamar and khinzir already, right? But the khamar and khinzir was still, it was pointed out, but she didn't take it yet. But she owns, she can start transacting in it. The question comes about what's the purpose of taking possession then? They say that the benefit of taking possession is that the item now moves from the husband's responsibility into the wife's responsibility. So what that means now, if that meher, let's say it wasn't khamar and khinzir, but it was pointed out. So according to Imam Bonifa, that the ownership is already there, but it's still in the responsibility of the husband. So she owns it, but she's in the responsibility of the husband. If it got destroyed, he has to give the value of it. You understand it? Right. وَذَلِكَ لَا يَمْتَنِعُ بِالْإِسْلَامِ. And that is not prevented with Islam. In other words, what is not prevented? That moving over of the responsibility from the husband to the wife of khamar or khinzir is not prevented with Islam. كَإِسْتِرْدَادِ الْخَمْرِ الْمَغْصُوبِ. Right. Like seeking back, right, the khamar which has been stolen. So what happened here now? This person was a non-Muslim. He had a khamar in his cellar. Somebody stole it, right? Somebody stole his khamar. Now, then he found the person who stole it. So now they tell him, give it back. But now in the meantime, he already became a Muslim, but he can still ask it back. You understand it? So it moves back from the person who stole the ghasib back to the makhsub, back to him who was stolen from. The khamar is moving back from that responsibility to this responsibility. Right. وفي غير المعين القبض موجب موجب ملك العين فيمتنع بالإسلام. And when the meher is not specific, now it wasn't pointed out. I'm going to give you, you understand, 10 bottles of wine. Which wine, you understand? And maybe said the wine, but it wasn't pointed out. Right. Right. So it's not specific now. Now, taking possession necessitates ownership of the item. So now she doesn't own it with a mere transaction. She'll only own it now once he hands it over to her. You got that? Because it's non-specific. Right. So that will be prohibited because of Islam. When it's not specific now you can't, because now she's only taking possession of she's only owning it now, and you can't own khamar and khinzir as a Muslim. بخلاف المشتري. Right? لأن ملك التصرف إنما يستفاد بالقبض. Right. Contrary to or you can say mushtara also, right? The bought item, right? The bought item. Because the ownership of transacting is only benefited with qabz right now. Now, say you sold something to this person, right? Person sold one khamar and khinzir, And let's see. Yeah. So when they did the sale of Khamar or Khinzir, they were both non-Muslims. Then one of them accepted Islam. That sale falls away because it's not like that meher. Although obviously the thing is specific, you know which you can see the Khamar and Khinzir there, right? So you did the sale, but it was no qabza was taken. You understand it? So here qabza is not allowed now. You understand it? Why? Because the power of the saruf is only benefited via qabza here in a sale. You got that now? But in a meher muayyan, the power of the saruf was already benefited with the transaction itself. But in a sale, it is only benefit, or you only have the power of qabza you only have the power of the saruf once qabza is done. Right. Here's the thing. Right. وإذا تعذر القبض في غير المعين, and when qabza is not possible, right? In non-specific, لا تجب القيمة في الخنزير, right? So now, what Imam Bani Rahman says that you can't take qabza now when it's not specific because she's a Muslim, right? She's a Muslimah, so you can't take qabza. So now, but then, so what must you do now? So say you can't make wajib qiymat. The value doesn't become wajib in a khinzir لأنه من ذوات القيم, because khinzir is a qiyami thing. It's a thing that you have to judge by its value. You understand it? فيكون أخذ قيمته كأخذ عينه. So taking its value is like taking it itself. You understand it? So therefore you can't you go to Mahram itself. Because she's a Muslimah now. She can't accept khinzir. So you'll say, okay, now then she must get the value of khinzir. Say, no, you can't even get the value of khinzir because khinzir is a qiyami thing. So if you're going to take the value of the khinzir, it's like you take the khinzir. Right? So therefore, must give meher misal. Wala kadhalika al-khamru. And it is not like, khamr is not like that. لِأَنَّهَا مِنْ ذَوَاتِ الْأَمْثَالِ. Because it is from those things that have likeness. You've got one bottle of wine here, you got the second one exactly the same. But the khinzir, you put one here and the second one is not the same. You understand it? So it's zawatul amsal. Right. Okay, leave it till later. That last three lines will have to explain it. It's continuing from this point here, that khamar is a zawatul khinzir, zawatul qiyam. So you take khinzir, you take the value of khinzir, you're taking a khinzir. And khamar is zawatul amsal. If you take the value of khamar, it's not like taking the khamar. You got that now? Because there is a likeness for it. You tell me.